Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've done a pregnancy update. I haven't been feeling quite myself until more recently, so this update will be quite a bit of a time span since the last one, because the last one was weeks 4, 5, and 6, and this one will be weeks 7 through the end of 13, so basically the rest of the first trimester, because there wasn't a whole lot to update anyway, so it was just easier to lump it all together. Also, I think the last time I did a video, my hair was much longer, so unrelated, well, I guess kind of related to pregnancy update is I had to cut my own hair, which is something I hope I never have to do again. It was terrifying, but I've been going to the same stylist since I was like 15, and it's in my hometown, and I don't live that far from my hometown, so I've just been making the trips down to get my hair cut when I need to, because I like going to her, I trust her, she does a good job, and it was just easier than finding a new person. Of course, there's been a few times where I've gotten my hair done where I live now, but I've not gone to the trouble of finding someone to keep going back to. And it had been almost a year since I'd gotten my hair cut, and I was gonna get one, and then my mom informed me that COVID is pretty bad in my hometown right now, and being that I'm pregnant and just trying to be extra cautious, I opted to not risk it. So I watched a few YouTube tutorials and just decided to go for it. And I don't hate it. It didn't turn out bad. It was scary to have to do, and obviously much easier to have someone else do it. So that's one update, and I guess we'll pick up where I left off before, which I think I had mentioned that with week 7, which was where I was at when I filmed the last one, the cramping had died down, but the nausea and fatigue had started, and so I would say that definitely intensified. It never got to the point where I threw up, which I am beyond grateful for, but it still is obviously not fun to deal with. I would say it was the worst in weeks 8, 9, and some of 10, and then it started to get better, and it's gotten progressively better since then, and I still just have like moments of nausea, not like hours of nausea, so that's better. But even like right now, I'm sipping on my lemon LaCroix to help, because I've got just a little bit of nausea happening, and bubbly water for me tastes better, like it's just easier on my stomach. So definitely not completely gone, but much better. One thing I will say for the nausea is they recommend vitamin B6, and I did try that. I upped the amount that I had in addition to what is already in my prenatal, and I also have some like honey, ginger, lemon candies that have vitamin B6 in them, and they taste good, but I think like, and at first the vitamin B6 seemed to help, but then like, I don't know, about a week after starting to trying that, the vitamin B6 actually seemed to make it worse somehow. So I stopped doing that, which kind of sucked, because I liked the taste of the candies, but just the thought of having more vitamin B6 was like, no, I can't do it. So I'm not really sure why that happened. And then the other thing that they recommend trying if your nausea is really bad is Unisom, which the active ingredient in that is the same as what's in Benadryl. So I didn't want to go out and get Unisom just for that, and I happened to have Benadryl on hand, so I tried that one night, and it sort of took the edge off, but it wasn't a huge improvement. So I opted not to continue with that because the small improvement that it made just wasn't worth it for me. So let's see, with the fatigue, that is definitely still here. Like, I'm still dealing with the fatigue. That has also gotten better, but not gone yet. I was someone who was a lot more active before getting pregnant, so I'm still waiting for the fatigue to get to a point where I can get back into working out, but we'll see. I have done a few workouts that they're not so much workouts as like more like yoga or stretching. I really like the Jessica Smith TV channel on YouTube. She's got a lot of variety, and she has some that are more gentle that I've been able to do, but still nowhere near what I was doing before. So one thing that I noticed that has actually helped, which seemed kind of weird, but I had been taking naps and sleeping in more during like weeks 7, 8, maybe a little bit of 9. And I noticed like I would actually be more tired when I would wake up from my nap, or I would be more tired during the day if I let myself sleep in too long. So I started to, and it just kind of like happened one day where I didn't have the option to sleep in, and I actually ended up feeling better that day. So at first I thought it was a fluke, and then it happened again, and I think like I wanted to take a nap, but I couldn't, and somehow ended up feeling better. So after it happened the second time, I thought, well, maybe like getting too much sleep is, contributing somehow to my fatigue. So I stopped taking naps, which I never really was a nap person before anyways. And then I also, when I wake up in the morning, if it's like, around the time that I would normally get up, then rather than go back to sleep if I'm feeling tired, which I usually am, I'll at least let myself lay in bed for, a little bit longer to, kind of like be like gentle with waking up, but I don't let myself go back to sleep. And that has actually helped with the fatigue. I am not exactly sure why. I'm guessing maybe it's just before I was getting too much sleep, because I know that can be a thing. If you get too much sleep, it actually starts to work against you. So that is something I've noticed that has helped. Another symptom that I've had to deal with that has been a really big pain, which I think has contributed a lot to the nausea, is postnasal drip. I have a lot of congestion, and a lot of that is drainage, and I think it making its way down into my stomach is contributes to giving me an upset stomach. And also, like, if it's like constantly happening, I start to get like this lump in my throat, and that constant lump in my throat does not help with the nausea. So that's not been fun. I have been trying to drink a lot more tea lately, which has helped. And I use a neti pot when I really need to, but those are really the only things that I've found that have helped with that. And so maybe TMI, but you know, this is a pregnancy update video, so it's to be expected. But another symptom is the constipation, which I also think, you know, has sometimes contributed to the nausea as well, just like, you know, feeling backed up. And what I used to take when I would get constipated was something natural, but it's not safe for pregnancy, I think, just because there's not been enough research done on it. So one thing that is safe is Colace. I don't like it. I don't like the side effects from it. So I've only taken it like maybe 2 or 3 times if, you know, I absolutely need to. But otherwise, I've just been trying to get more magnesium, and there's also some teas that I have that have helped. It's just a matter of remembering to do all the things that help with constipation. So, and yeah, I think one of the other things that I've had to deal with is soreness, tightness, and I think constipation has contributed to some of that, like soreness, unfortunately. Some of it is, you know, my uterus stretching out and like, you know, like round ligament pain as of more recently, but yeah, I'm sure the constipation does not make it any better. But one thing with the soreness and round ligament pain that really sucks is when you sneeze or cough, if you're not braced for it, or if you're not sitting in the right position, or if it's happened to you, you kind of know how to change your position so that when it happens, it's not gonna hurt. Bloating is another one that has not been fun, and I know, you know, things like the bubbly water does not help, but sometimes you have to pick your battles, and you know, I would rather deal with a little bit of bloating than the nausea, so I choose to have a little bit of bubbly to make the nausea feel better. And so a couple big things. We had another ultrasound when I was almost 11 weeks, and a little bit of backstory to that was that it was just going to be a regular appointment. Apparently, I didn't know that once you've had an ultrasound in your first trimester, they don't usually do another one unless it's medically necessary. A lot of times, if you really want one, they'll still do it, but they tell you, they give you a heads up that your insurance might not cover it. So we didn't know that until a day or two before we were going to the appointment, that was going to be the case. And we had been planning on it, so 1, we were excited for it, and 2, we were planning on using the photos that we were going to get from that for the announcement and telling a few family members that we hadn't told yet. So we did end up asking for one anyways, and you know, they were happy to do it. But even if it's out of pocket, we decided it was still worth it, just for the excitement of being able to see baby and also peace of mind. So that was really fun. Baby was very energetic, bouncing around, and yeah, lots of movement. So that was really fun to see. They also used the fetal Doppler to find the heartbeat, which probably took her less than 10 seconds to find the heartbeat. And it was, I think she said 160. Said it was very healthy, normal range. Same thing with when they did the ultrasound. There was nothing wrong. Everything looked healthy and was exactly as expected. So let's see. Oh, one other thing that I wanted to talk about was pregnancy related apps. So the one that I've been using since the beginning, it's called Baby Center. I think a lot of them have a lot of the same features, but I just happen to like this one. And one thing that I will say about it though is that, and any pregnancy app really is that it's kind of a double-edged sword, in that you have access to a lot of information that you maybe might normally have to wait until your next appointment to get answers to. There's like forums that you can go to post questions, or like read other people's questions, or comment on other people's, if someone else has a question and, you can help. So it's good in that aspect, but also, sometimes too much information can be a bad thing. Like, I wish that I had never known that a missed miscarriage is a thing. I mean, I know that, like, even if I'd ended up having one, not knowing wouldn't have changed anything about the end result, but, I think because I knew, it was just harder to sometimes put my mind at ease. So I try to not spend too much time on the app if I can help it. So if it's not something you've gone through yet, just a fair warning. And then the other app was called Hear My Baby, which is like a heart rate monitor app, and it can be a little bit controversial, but here's my take on it. It was $4.99 for the app, and like, some people have said, well, some things can sound like they have a heartbeat even though they don't, so you might be hearing something that's not baby, and that may be true for some people, and I knew that going into it. But at this stage, where I have no other option for knowing whether or not she's doing okay in there, I decided, that even if it did give me unwarranted peace of mind, it wouldn't change what actually happens, as long as I'm not ignoring any warning signs, which right now the only warning signs that I can go by are pain, cramping, and bleeding, because it's too early to feel any movement. So I can't go based on, I haven't felt her move in a while, or kicking counts and that kind of thing. So right now it's just kind of, something fun to use, and also, it does bring me peace of mind when I'm not having any other warning symptoms, but I still want to know that she's okay in there. And I did, test it when I first got it, and I found my heartbeat, which the app walks you through how to do it. And then I found her heartbeat. It did take a little bit of trying the very first time, and they sound the same, only hers is faster. And that's how I knew that it was her heartbeat rather than mine, because that's another thing that people like to argue, is that, well, you probably heard your own heartbeat. Well, my heartbeat's a lot slower than hers. And when I found hers, it was the same as what they had told me it was at my appointment when they found the heartbeat. And I put it around the same spot that the midwife found the heartbeat. And now I've done it enough times where I know exactly where to put it. That's the only place I've ever been able to hear her heartbeat. I've tried it on other parts of my body, and I can't ever hear that exact same sound. And it sounds like a heartbeat. It's very consistent. And yeah, it's like just barely above my pubic bone, like as close to the pubic bone as you can be without actually being on it, because that's how low down she still is right now. So yeah, for me, it was worth the $4.99. And it's not something that I plan to continue to use once I am far enough along where I can feel her movement. Because the thing about heart rate monitors for during pregnancy is that if you are having some concerning symptoms and you use one and find the heartbeat, and then take that to mean that everything's fine, then you might not go in. So you risk missing something and then something happening to the baby. So it's not supposed to be a way to, at least later on when you can actually feel the kicking, that's what you're supposed to use to track the health. And you're also not supposed to, ignore warning signs like lack of movement or pain, bleeding, cramping, or you have a gut feeling. It's always better to call your doctor or midwife. So it's not supposed to be a substitute for determining health. But right now I have no other way. They would tell me the same thing, the app, using the app and not using the app does not factor into what I can use right now. So if I just want to know that she's okay in there for whatever reason, even like I'm not having like pain or cramping or bleeding, then, I can find her heartbeat, and finding it or not does not change whether or not I would call my midwife if I were having concerning symptoms. So that's my take on that. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps up the first trimester. And yeah, my next appointment, I'm not exactly sure what the plan for that appointment is. It's next Monday, and it does happen to be in person. They're kind of like sporadically in person, and then some virtual as well because of COVID. And yeah, because they did all my blood work at the last one, I'm not exactly sure what the plan for the next one is. And the one after that is virtual, and then the one after that is the 20-week ultrasound anatomy scan. So that will be exciting. And I will probably, I hope to do more updates if things change more during the second trimester, but I will probably still continue to lump some of them together at least for efficiency. And yeah, comment below if you have any questions, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Bye.